What's up, everyone? It's a new year again, and we're locked in the studio because it's pissing it down out there. It's very gloomy. I don't know what it's like where you are, but I hope you're good. Today, what I wanted to do was run through an older song of mine called After Hours, which a few of you requested we do. There's some cool production elements we can run through, but I also want to kind of go a little bit more into depth in the story, the background of the song, some of the decisions we made and why we made them. I feel like there's a ton of channels out there that don't necessarily go into depth on the reasons behind these music production decisions, which is important. So let's give it a go. So the first thing that I want to show you is the evolution of the song. So I wrote this song with Amanda Sy and Jodie Harsh, both incredible artists and writers. Yeah, we wrote it in about half a day, very quick. And these are like the three kind of pillars of what the song kind of evolved into. So we started with this rough demo, and then this is where we start to change the lyrics, and then there's a few more like lyrical adjustments at the end, and obviously quite a big production difference. So I'm just going to play like bits of either of these for you so you can hear how a song kind of evolves from a writing session up to the final product.
Smoky room, the late night blues. I need someone to get me through the morning. After midnight, it's my dark side. It's a wild ride, so essential. It's my calling. Do you wanna drink me down, baby? What's your poison?
There's quite a lot of spaces that needed filling.
I'm so into numbing out. Come with me while I'm falling. I need it and I want it. Stay the night. Chemical reactions happen after hours. So stay the night. Give me a distraction, I can take a dollar. After hours.
So yeah, there you go. You can hear quite a few gaps, quite a few different melodies, quite a few different lyrics. And then this is like the second one where things really started to kind of shape up.
Smoky rooms and late night blues. I need someone to get me through the morning. After midnight, see my dark side. Take a wild ride, so essential. It's my calling. Do you wanna drink me down, baby? What's your poison? I'm so into numbing out. Come with me while I'm falling. Let's get on it. Stay the night. Chemical reactions happen after hours. So stay the night. Give me a distraction, I can't take it down. After hours, baby, stay the night.
And then this right here is our final mix.
Smoky rooms and late night blues. I need someone to get me through the morning. After midnight, see my dark side. Take a wild ride, so essential. It's my calling. Do you wanna drink me down, baby? What's your poison? I'm so into numbing out. Come with me while I'm falling. Let's get on it. Take the night. Chemical reactions happen after hours. So take the night. Give me a distraction, I can't take it down. After hours, we could take the night.
There you go. So one of the things I did want to talk about was what I think makes this drop melody thing quite hooky and fun. I'm sure you've all heard of call and response. Melody sings something, other melody sings something else, and you get this call and response thing, which is really cool. But basically, I've labeled it section A, section B. So section A is the call and section B is the response. So obviously there's a few things going on between section A and section B. The melody is different in the first half. It's the da, 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 and then it goes into do da da do da da do in section B. The big difference is actually in the rhythm as well. So if you listen to section A, it's way more choppy. There's way more like dry parts that don't have reverb on. And then section B becomes very flowy, for lack of a better term. Way more reverb. The bass is sustained out. The chords are sustained out, and these pads kind of come into the stereo field. So that's just what I wanted to show you with how the melody was created and how I kind of used the production to also emulate or strengthen what the melody was already doing. All right, so this is the main project for After Hours. It's a big one. It's a big chunky one. It's a whole 247 tracks. Nowadays, I don't tend to have projects this big, but anyway, let's dive in. The whole idea for the song started with this here. Which is like super inspired obviously by like the French house stuff, all the sampling. So there's a couple of string samples here. Take all the processing off. So yeah, none of that was used. There's a bunch of stuff at the front end as well. So there you go. That's the main sample. This is the B section, like the response. So we're just using the top end from that bit. And then the bottom, like main part is this. All together. And then there's a ton of processing, classic OTT. A J37, which is just a tape emulation from Waves. Flanger, low mix. Bit crush. EQ doing nothing. And then just some like surgical EQ on this one, just getting rid of some of that nasty top end. Compression. This is just slamming it. This would have been before I ever got my hands on the Valve compressor. Otherwise, that's what I'd be using nowadays for this kind of stuff. Another bit crusher, sidechain. And then just a little bit more EQ at the end. This kind of area here, like if you duck that out of like your main musical elements, is going to let your vocal shine through a little bit more. The whole idea of processing this sample was to kind of make it sound from that early 2000s French era, where they would have been running it for a bunch of hardware, which would have just made it sound crappy in a way and just very compressed. So once I had that sample chop, the first thing I remember doing was chucking some drums in just to see what it felt like in context. You got a kick, claps, some top kicks and stuff, just giving some like air and like just kind of a bit of crush to the kick because it was just a very clean kick drum otherwise. And then you've got some like drum loops. In this song in particular, I was using a lot of like more organic kind of disco top sounds as opposed to like straight up house, like tech house kind of stuff. You got a shaker, little shuffle thing. More like things here. You got some like ghost kicks down here, which are like playing off of the bass, I believe. Yeah, they're almost like acting as a transient for the bass. So the reason that I did this was, especially in this kind of genre of music, the bass was often like super compressed and you'd get these like clicky top end attack sounds. So instead of doing that whole like mad compression thing, I literally just took this transient. That saves us basically compressing a sound that we're already happy with. So you've got this one. That's like, that hits you like on the drop. That's the first thing that you hear. And that is massive goated synth, seriously. But that is very much in the middle, and this would have been layered on top. Which either sounds like a live bass or a MIDI live bass, which I've just exported. I don't know which one. So then you've got like this main bass layer. So this is handling pretty much the majority of the bass sound. So if I take all of the processing off, this is what you get. Again, that could be either a live bass or like a MIDI live bass. I can't remember, it was so long ago. Then it's going through CLA bass, just slamming it. Slight bit of saturation on this like top end. Bit of EQ. And this is where it starts to get interesting. So constantly referencing that era of house music. A lot of the bass sounds will run through like very intense filters, which means like the resonant peaks on them were usually pretty high. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to replicate that. I'm cutting off all of the high end. So yeah, that's how you kind of get that vowel-y sound from your basses. That's then going through a bit crusher, some sidechain, and then it's just being sent to a chorus on the bus just to get a little bit of width. That's just the same sound bounced out and kind of chopped up, so it's a little bit tighter. That's literally just playing a ghost note. And then if we add that with our other basses as well. So yeah, there's your bass. So once I had the bass line, the drums and the sample, the one thing I felt like it was missing was a lot of kind of mid-range harmonic content. So I just doubled it with some chords. And these chords are literally triads, if that. I don't even think there's a... Yeah, they're literally 2-note chords. Super simple. Probably just played that in and just never changed it. So that with the sample sounds super full. So those sounds are, you've got this like saw wave. Layered with a piano. The giant. And then just saturating the top end on that a little bit. And then in that B section that I was talking about, you have this pad that comes in. And like cut off, like opens up, builds that tension up nicely. And then on this like chord bus, I've got a gain plugin, which is doing this. It's just cutting off like all of the reverb tails and like releases that are hanging over, and we're just making it super choppy and tight, as if we kind of exported it and chopped it up ourselves. Oh, also in the chorus, like drop section, I doubled the string sample with just like another string. Sounds terrible by itself. But in context, you can kind of just hear that melody a little bit more clearly, I think. And then kind of just to finish off the melodic parts of the drop, I remember I exported like the whole drop and then dragged it into, I think it was like the granular plugin in Logic. I've forgotten what it's called, but, and then just went through and exported out each of these bits so that it sounded like super granular, and then chopped it and like processed it even further. So that's what this chop bus sounds like. So that's something that's cool, like resampling your own music. I do it quite a lot nowadays. I think this was one of the first times I ever tried it. That's how you can kind of get that really cool, justicey, super like obnoxious chop sound. It's quite a tedious process, but it's fun. And then with those, I'm literally just slamming them with OTT and a bit of sidechain. That's it. Also on that B section, like the floaty bit, I added this choir and a string. There you go. There's a few little like effects layers and chops and little sounds sprinkled in here and there, which kind of sound like these. And that kind of just glues everything together and just is a little bit of ear candy for you. So the verse is pretty simple. It's what I mentioned earlier. It's the sample just filtered down.
After midnight, see my dark side, take a wild ride, so it's
Put the bass going, just filtered in the background. Atmosphere and effects. Some drums. Super low key and chill. Build up sort of pre-section.
baby, what's your poison?
You get this bad boy coming, which is the ES2. Very much a slept on synthesizer. And then you've got the worst sounding MIDI bass of all time. Which in context actually sounds cool, but by itself sounds like a 3-year-old made it.
Do you wanna drink me down? Baby, what's your poison?
So the choir comes in, this pluck build-up thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, we got some pads as well, just to build tension. Cut off just opening as it reaches the end of the pre. Fancy little chord there. And then a little snare. Verse 2 is a little bit more interesting. And there's this little cool moment here. If I just mute the vocal. So that there is like, again, playing with space and like the contrast between wet and dry, low and high volume sort of thing. So you got these guitars. Which will probably run through Guitar Rig and then exported. And like those chuggy bits are just chopped super short and tight. You've got toms on top of that. Super cool. But all of this kind of mutes at that section. And it comes in with these huge splashes of piano, basically. These cymbals kind of like accentuate in that moment as well. And there should be a bass as well. So all of that together sounds like this. And then we've got all these like spacey, like 2000s Kylie Minogue type sound effects. One thing I love doing is like second pre-chorus. I always love just adding little things in that maybe you don't hear first time, but you kind of feel like, okay, the track's building. Like it's not just the same pre-chorus again. And this super simple guitar kind of just did that instantly for me. Which sounds like this. After that second chorus, we go into the post-chorus. There's a cool little fill here that comes in. And yeah, when we were in the room writing the song, we were kind of just singing this melody back to each other. Which I thought was a really nice moment, because we've just had lyrics all the way up until this moment. So it's nice to have like a ad-libby thing. And then my instant thought was to just back that up with a string line. Which again, don't sound great on their own, but in context it kind of works. And then lastly, really, you've got this middle 8 section, which lasts for about 4 bars. It's not even a middle 8 really, but it's just a little moment. And this is where I just went crazy on the Kylie Minogue space effects thing. All fun stuff. Just the roads there. And that's basically it for the production. Let's move on to the vocals for a minute. The vocals were all done in a different project, which unfortunately I no longer have. But I definitely spent like a good day or two just producing out the vocals, making sure like all the doubles were like super tight with each other. There was no duff notes anywhere. Making sure that there's the right kind of compression, reverb, all that jazz that just fits her vocal. That being said, let's just take a listen to each of the parts. In this song, you have the lead channel.
Do you wanna drink me down? Baby, what's your poison?
Now, bear in mind, these vocals are very, very compressed because there's so much going on in the production. It's a very busy production, very bright production. And I would definitely have like used parallel compression on this, just because it's very easy for like dynamic vocals to get lost in a mix this busy. It is a case-by-case basis. You don't always want to be slamming your vocals this much, but in this song it just works.
I'm so into numbing out. Come with me while I'm falling, and let's get on it. Take the night.
Separately, I would have bounced the delay and reverbs on their own channels.
I'm so into numbing out. Come with me.
So you've got this big reverb that only happens in the pre. Got a delay.
I'm so into numbing out. Come with me.
Verb delay thing. I don't know what this is. And a plate reverb. And then on certain words, you've just got these throws as well. So all of that together, you get this really cool, full sounding vocal.
Do you wanna drink me down? Baby, what's your point?
And then you've got your doubles.
Do you wanna drink me down? Baby.
For like a song like this with the pre-doubles, I'll tend to kind of not pan them all the way left and all the way right, somewhere like in the middle, just so that when that chorus hits, you've got like full width of vocals.
Chemical reactions happen after hours. So take the night.
So you've got like a low one in there as well, and then that with the lead.
Chemical reactions happen after hours. So take the night.
Got plus 12. Just adds a lot of energy and fizz to the vocal in the chorus. Harmony.
Chemical reactions happen after hours. Chemical reactions happen after hours. So
And then you've got this response here. Ad-libs, super important. Amanda did a bunch of these. I usually tend to bring in the ad-libs or start recording the ad-libs from either the second pre or the second verse, just so it feels like something's changing as the song's progressing.
Take me for the sunrise, oh. Tell you what it feels like. I know it's just us now.
If I solo them with the lead vocal,
Chemical reactions happen after hours. Yeah. Baby, take the night.
the most notable place you'll hear the ad-lib is here.
So take the night. Give me a distraction, I can't take it down.
I absolutely love that ad-lib. And you can see, like, visually here, there's way more ad-libs happening just because it's the end of the song. And that's basically it. Thank you for watching, guys. If anybody has any requests for videos or ideas, drop them in the comments. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. And hopefully we'll be doing more of these this year. Ciao.